All right, well, let's get into the next game of the week. The real football team, those New York Jets.
Oh, you're in it, Richie. Jets. You were in it for a minute there.
We were in it, baby. I mean, we were in it. Come on, Brees, don't fumble. Oh, we're right there. Oh, man. But now in this game, it really just comes down to, the Jets in totality. The Jets are in evaluation mode right now. It's not really about wins and losses. It's about what players are really stepping up. Does Aaron Glenn establish a style of football? I'll tell you this Jets team is playing completely different ball than they did early on in the season. That game against the Bills earlier on, even against the Dolphins, compared to where they are right now, it is a complete shift in terms of shipping away Sauce and Quinnen, acquiring new players like A.D. Mitchell, John Mechie, and Brownlee. Like, there's a lot that you see the shift, and I've never seen a team like do what the Jets are doing to get so much new talent on the roster during the season. Like, they're not waiting for the offseason to start finding their guys. Like, they're so proactive. They have been since August. They made those 2 trades for those 2 defensive tackles, remember? Harrison Phillips and Jawan Briggs. Both of them have been fantastic. And I looked at the defense in this game, and I don't feel like we're missing Quinnen and Sauce. Like, when we traded them away, I'm like, this defense is going to be trash. Like, I'm not looking at this defense feeling like we missed them. Those 2 are great players. They're going to be very impactful and win a lot of games in Indianapolis and the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to be great for them. But from the Jets standpoint, it's obvious they did not fit this timeline. So that's that. The defense was really, really stout in this game in the first half. And then it was the penalties that hurt the Jets. 3rd and 15 on the opening drive. The Ravens, we get that penalty on defense, gives them a first down. And then right there is when the Baltimore Ravens started to get their juice, and then we kind of gifted them that. The Jets get aggressive on the next possession on 4th down. They go for it. Should not have done that in that situation. You give the Ravens a short field, another critical 3rd down penalty, which would have forced the Ravens to kick 3 points, but no, it's a touchdown. 14 unanswered points like that, and now the Jets are playing from behind. The Jets have a chance to make it a game. Brees Hall has a great drive, explosive play, gets them into the red zone, but then he fumbles the rock. The Ravens took it away from him, and instead of making it a 3-point game and giving this defense that's played relatively well all game an opportunity to make that defensive stop in the 4th quarter, which we've seen them do this season, it's not the case. Then it's a turnover, and then that's all she wrote. The good news is the Jets are evaluating a position of need, which is wide receiver. Without Garrett Wilson, you got John Mechie III, who is having back-to-back games with a touchdown. Really good production from John Mechie. I'm very impressed with him. He really looks like someone that we're going to have on this football team for the foreseeable future. A.D. Mitchell as well is getting comfortable in the system. He had 2 big catches for around 30 to 40 yards. I'm loving what I'm seeing from these 2 wide receivers, and it's just cool to see the Jets have their mold. Listen, we lost the game. If you look at the score, 23-10, and you didn't watch the game, you would think that the Jets just got absolutely destroyed and there's really nothing. But no, that's not the context of this game. You really got to watch it because the score does not really tell you all about it. So this was the first loss this season. I'm coming away not as pissed off and as feeling negative as I've done. Again, there's no moral victories in this sport, but the Jets aren't really in the business of winning right now. Obviously, wins would be great. I was rooting for a win. I would have preferred to win that game. But I will say, holding Lamar Jackson in check, holding Derrick Henry in check, seeing that progression of this team, having a guy in this defensive line, Jawan Briggs, who is playing like Quinnen Williams-esque in terms of getting sacks from the interior, that's a big plus. That's the guy the Jets traded for in August. He's looking fantastic on the defensive tackle position, and we have promising pieces around this team to build around. So, tough loss, but hey, you live to fight another day. The Jets are trying to find their brand and try to get to the offseason because that's what this team's about. Nothing really more to break down other than that.
So one thing I will say, I was impressed with the performance from Mechie and A.D. Mitchell. I did think that both of those 2 are going to be wonderful wide receiver 2s and 3s for you next year. Once Garrett Wilson comes back and whatever quarterback you decide to bring in via free agency, or maybe it's the Cuban Missile himself, Fernando Mendoza from Indiana. Who knows who it's going to be, but it's funny because you mentioned that it appears like the Jets defense is looking fine without Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams, really hitting the nail on the head. It just goes to prove to you that sometimes specific personnel, no matter how elite, just don't fit into a specific system. In my opinion, I think those replacements are just being able to execute Aaron Glenn's vision for what he wants out of this defense in the first place. And I think you're going to see it even 5x in 2026. Curious to see. Very curious to see what that looks like.
And the big change at the quarterback position, obviously, the reason they went to Tyrod is they're in evaluation mode. They need this offense to operate like a real offense. And it wasn't elite, but you can actually have a quarterback that can give the wide receivers chances. So then when a new quarterback comes in, there's somewhat of an established offense in place. And I feel like Tyrod did a relatively decent job. He's not great. He's not going to light it up, but he was able to get the wide receivers the ball to make some plays. And I like that from Tyrod.
I love that.
TD, you can just say for a sentence, and then we can move on. And then Colby, go ahead.
You're right. I'm over here thinking.
Go to them dastardly Patriots.
How can I make this 2 sentences? Listen, we know what the Jets are. Okay? Aaron Glenn's building his team the way he wants it, and it's going to take time. Right now, he's in evaluation mode. Obviously, you always play a game to win a game, but nobody has any expectations for the Jets at this point. You know, Tyrod did come in and give you all a better chance, if you ask me, to win. And the Baltimore Ravens, they just in cruise control. Good job giving them a little scare early, but outside of that, third quarter came around, they took off. I mean, it was pretty much that was it. At least to me, I knew that they were going to take control and win the game at that point. So that's all I got for you. You know, the Jets are building something. Hopefully they can mimic what the Lions did, but that takes some getting worse before it gets better.
Last thoughts, Colby.
Man. Yeah, I was honestly pretty impressed with Tyrod Taylor. Now, I'm not saying he's a great quarterback. I'm not saying he's a franchise or even a starting caliber quarterback, but I think he finally gave you just this level of consistency. He gave you this ground level that you guys really just needed because, look, I'd rather have a quarterback that's going to go out and put up a B-, C+ performance on a week-to-week basis than a guy who's going to put up an A+ performance, but then an F performance any given week. And then you don't really know what you have because, like you guys alluded to, that's really, really hard to evaluate what you currently have on your team, which is where the New York Jets are at. 17 of 28 for 222, touchdown, interception, overall rating of 82.7. It's really not bad for Tyrod Taylor. You got more out of the passing game than you've gotten from Justin Fields. Unfortunately, you lost a dynamic in this game by getting rid of Justin Fields. You kind of substituted the passing game for you substituted the running game for the passing game because really you guys didn't have a rushing offense in this game at all. Breece Hall was averaging 2.8 yards per carry. Tyrod Taylor was averaging 3.8. Isaiah Davis was averaging 1.8. And so I think that's a major problem that you guys had. You have to be able to run the ball to open up the passing game, because if you're just passing the ball with no running game to back it up, then defenses are just going to play deep on you, and they're really going to take away, what you're doing there through the passing game. And so you guys were up, I want to say 10 points at one point. I was like, wow, okay, the New York Jets might pull off an upset. Yeah, the AFC it might be shaping up really interesting to where maybe the Ravens aren't going to make the postseason, and then of course they turn it around and they get on you there. But hey, look, man, I thought the defense stepped up big time against Lamar Jackson, who is still coming back from that injury. He still isn't the same, but I think, nonetheless, it is still Lamar Jackson. It is still Derrick Henry. And Lamar only threw for 153. I mean, Derrick Henry only went for 64 yards on the ground. Lamar Jackson only ran for 11 yards himself. You held Zay Flowers, who was the leading receiver in this game, to only 58 yards. And the final thing I'll say is that I've always been a big fan of John Mechie. I hate that he's on the New York Jets, but I'm still gonna root for him. I'm gonna root for the Jets' downfall, but I'm gonna root for the success there of John Mechie. He continues to look very good for you guys. Not surprised about that in the slightest. I'm still not sold on AD Mitchell. I'm gonna be honest with you. I need to see more from him. I need to see more consistency. Targeted 7 times, 2 receptions. Still needs to be better on that, but at least put up 42 yards. And so New York Jets, it's just time for the evaluation period.
And it's hard not to root for John Mechie. I mean, you talk about his story.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
That's one of the craziest stories you'll hear. I mean, he tears his ACL at the end of his college season, supposed to be a first-round pick. Then he goes to the second round, and then in the summer of his rookie season gets diagnosed with leukemia. I mean, that is the worst possible way in terms of physically, mentally, like that you can have the most adverse situation to go into the NFL. Never had an opportunity in Houston, gets to go to the Eagles, never had a real shot. And now with the Jets, obviously we are really bad, so he's going to get his chance to start. And he looks like fantastic, man. He looks like the best receiver on this team outside of Garrett Wilson. So that's definitely a big positive in the midst of a negative season for the New York Jets. And I love stories like that. It's hard not to root for him. Sleeper, do not laugh at you, Colby. That's why they are very reliable. Shout out to Sleeper for being a proud sponsor of the AFC East Roundtable. If you guys have not checked them out by now, what are you waiting for? You guys can get a 100% deposit match up to $100 by using our code RTS. Monday Night Football is coming up. And then you have Thursday Night Football, of course. So if you guys want to go check out Sleeper, please consider to do so. That is with the code RTS. You get $20 for free when you sign up today. And don't forget to use the code RTS when you sign up. Folks, the link is literally at the top of the description. I will put it at the top of the live chat as well for you guys if you want to get a little bit more easier access to the great app of Sleeper Picks. Please make sure you guys go over there and check them out. If you did not already, great sponsor of the show as they continue to sponsor us